Baby, we are live.
We're
We are
live.
live on Facebook and on YouTube. Man, it's great to be back
It's
with my
nice. It's a good
man,
feeling. It's a good
with,
feeling. Let's
with my
get it.
man Xavier Scruggs. Man, it is good to be back. So every Tuesday we do the X Factor with Xavier Scruggs right here on Facebook and YouTube, and right here on Instagram. And we take your questions on Instagram. We take your questions right here on Facebook. I'm your host, Joel Hartman. And we're back after a week off because my man Xavier had to undergo a little bit of surgery. Xavier, you messed up your Achilles. How you
Yeah.
feeling?
I'm feeling good though. Not much pain going on now. Just hobbling around, making sure I'm doing the right things as far as taking care of what I need to take care of, and trying to get outside the house as much as possible. Even with this, with this pandemic, it's been
Yeah.
tough to get out of the house. So just trying to get out of the house. Enjoy time with the family.
You look like you're
Um,
letting the beard grow a little bit too, though.
Yeah, the beard is getting going a little bit. So, I talked to, I just had an IG live with my man Juice, the MLB official barber of the Marlins.
Uh-huh.
His beard is like down here. So I'm like, I need to get it going a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's good, man. Everything is good. Super blessed over here. Just excited to be back on Prospect Dugout, X Factor. Let's get it.
Let's do it. So today we got two topics we're going to talk about, and we would love for everyone on Instagram to ask some questions, and on Facebook and YouTube as well. You can find
Yeah.
out more about Xavier at exoathletes.com. By the way, he's got a lot of good stuff there. But today we're talking about self-discipline and enjoying the game.
Mm.
Right, two topics that are very relevant to this demographic, and especially to this day and age. Self-discipline, especially, we can just start with that. You just mentioned about you know everything that's going on with this pandemic, and that's something where self-discipline, man, like you're cooped up in the house all day. You've got the ability to sit there on your phone and just what like not get better. I mean, I
Right.
guess you
Yeah.
could say
Just
I'm watching
chill.
videos, I'm doing some data research and stuff like that, but I mean, come on, there's so many things that you could be doing. It's You're out of your element. You're in a new element, and I think that's where self-discipline comes into play, where you have to actually look and say, you know what? I have the goal, I have the desire to be at this level. So in my opinion, I don't wait till I get to this level to start acting like that player. if
Right.
I if I have the goal of being at this level, I have to start acting like the players that are at this level, because when I get to that level, I can't just turn it on. I finally was able to start watching The Last Dance because I didn't have ESPN Plus, but it's on Netflix now. So I watched the
Yeah.
first two episodes, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Roy Williams that said that Michael Jordan was the only person that he's known that has the ability to turn it on or turn it off, and he never turned it off. Right. So
Right.
uh, I think that especially now with where everything is going, if I want to be a major league baseball player, if I want to be a division 1 baseball player, if I want to be the best high school athlete, then I have to start acting like it right now. I have to not look at the distractions, or look at the distractions and say, hey, you know what, I have to make a decision. This is where I want to be. This is what this player is doing in this situation. I can't not do it and then expect everything to fall into place. Like, where we are now in life is based on our actions in the past. If I wouldn't have turned this way, I would have gotten over here. If I wouldn't have turned this way, I would have gotten over here, or maybe it would have just taken longer to do that. So I think, self-discipline, man, to me, and we can kind of go back and forth on it, but that's basically my overview on it, is that, if you aspire to be at this level, you have to start acting like you're at that level right now.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think, excuse me, another aspect of it, and something that I talk to parents a lot about and at the athletes a lot, is just taking the initiative upon yourself and not
Mhm.
waiting for somebody to tell you what to do. A lot of times, I remember me being back like 10, 12 years old, high school, like for me, it was always important to figure out on my own what I needed to do. Because if I can only count on my coaches, my mentors, my parents, then
Mm-hmm.
that's only going to get me so far. They can't physically feel and think the same things that I can. So it's important for me to figure out what those things are that I need to do continually. And when
Mm-hmm.
I say continually, I mean like every day, to get better at those things. And it's like today, a lot of the kids, like there's so much, like you said, distractions, a lot of social media, a lot of issues, whether it may be anxiety, like we talked about dealing with depression, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
stuff is going on. But I feel like it's so important for us to realize, okay, like you said, if I have a certain goal, let me make sure it's not my dad that's telling me, okay, hey, let's get you outside and work on what you're saying you want to
Right.
work on.
Right.
Right. So I think it's a part of us to take that initiative and say, okay, it may be 100 some odd degrees outside, but I know I need to do something specifically to get better today. And that's another thing about self-discipline. And I think me and you have talked about this too, is like it's about getting better every day, no matter how small it is.
Mm-hmm.
And doing it when I don't want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
or when or if I don't have to do it. I don't have practice today, but maybe I should still work on something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you as a baseball player knows that the further that you get along, the less it is about somebody giving you the information to go do it. It's more
Right.
about, okay, this is what I feel like, this is what I'm thinking, these are the things I know I need to do to get myself better. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if younger athletes can recognize that as soon as possible, then they have an edge on other ones. Because we have a lot of athletes, and even already today, people asking, how can I get recognized? One of the first things I tell athletes is try to do the things that you don't have to ask your coach about. Try to figure those things out on your own. That's giving you an edge. That way you don't have to always lean on somebody.
Right. I think that's where we get at times sucked into a lull is when we are relying on someone else. And for me personally, I like to do a lot of things myself because I know that I'm going to go get it done and it's going to be done and I can move on to the next thing. Something that's hard for me is to work with other people in terms of delegating. Like that's tough for me because if they're not moving at the same pace as me, or it's not so much about the vision or exactly how they do it, but it's just a matter of if I have a goal in mind and I've got to go and get this done, I needed to get done efficiently. So I struggle with that, but I think that's where a lot of us get sidelined, is that we've relied on other people to show us what to do. We've relied on other people to give us a workout routine, drills to do. I mean, it's always great to talk with someone about getting a drill. It's always great to um, talk with someone, about designing a workout program or a throwing
Hmm.
program, but you can't wait for them to do it Like
Right.
for me, getting into the game of professional baseball, I knew I had to get stronger. So I'm out there using Google trying to find the best workout program I can for athletes. I find, I searched and searched and searched, and I finally found a guy called Joe DeFranco up in New Jersey. Worked with a lot of professional football players and baseball players back in the early late 2000s, and really that's what got me going in that direction in terms of Olympic weightlifting and explosive training and working out and things like that. Which then opened my eyes to say, oh, you know what? Well, this person's teaching this, and they're also working with athletes, so let me get more information from them. And I was able to go and find and work with people that were able to then prescribe me things to do and give me
Hmm.
a list of things to do. But I didn't sit back and wait for that person to find me, because it's not going to work that way. So I
Yeah,
think.
you went down a rabbit hole of finding more information just from your own will of
Mhm,
at least researching.
mhm,
And I think that that's the main point,
mhm.
is like we find out more information by ourselves, literally knowing what we need to do or figuring out what we need to do, and then having the capability to say, okay, let me go research, let me go find the information, let me go apply it. Oh, now I'm understanding more. So I think, like, exactly what you said, not to cut you off, but you made it easier on yourself to find more information.
Right, absolutely. And something I just wrote down when you interjected that was, if you're thinking of, okay, I want to or let's say this, I want to, obviously I want to be a better baseball player, I want to be a better infielder. I just don't know what drills to do. I don't know what to work on. Well, let's break it down like this, and let me get your thoughts on this. Okay, I'm a shortstop. Okay, and I want better drills on double plays. I want better drills on a ball in the hole, slow roll, whatever it may be. Um, here's a solution that I think can, if you don't have the knowledge or the understanding of what to do, and you don't want to rely on someone else to tell you what to do, think about the things that that position or that play is asking you to do, right? If you're working on footwork at second base, make up your own drills that, like, go out and do the play a couple times, and pay attention to what your feet are doing, pay attention to what your body is doing, and then just create a couple of exercises that you can do in terms of like a cone drill or a wall ball drill that's going to help you work on that movement, right? And so now you're getting to know the movement a little bit better. And now, as you're searching through Instagram, you're searching through YouTube or Google to help find these drills, and you see something, wait a second, I just did that, let me go look and see what they're doing. All of a sudden you're like, wow, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know a specific drill to do, but I just started doing this because, I wanted to work on a slow roller. So I figure, like, this is something I need to work on, that I'll make up this drill. Now all of a sudden you see something that backs it up. You've opened your mind to say, you know what, I'm not going to rely on just outside information. I've got to figure out, because really somebody had to figure something out first.
The first
Everything
place.
that in the first time, somebody had to say something first. Somebody had to, when you're creating an automobile, an airplane, a pen, a pillow, like, somebody had to do it first and figure it out, right? So other people have done these drills, but you haven't. So
Hmm.
figure something out. And I think that's where, taking it to another level, uh, athletes can kind of get hung up on that, because they feel like that their drill isn't really a real drill because no one gave it to them. And I don't think that that's applicable. I think anything that you can do that, you know, take my son for instance. Like, I didn't teach him how to swing a bat. He literally just watched dudes on TV swing, and then he knew how to swing by figuring it out himself, right? Same thing with throwing. So that's the same thing that you do with walking or talking. You're watching other people as a child. You're watching other people talk. You're hearing them. You're trying to mimic them. So
Right.
go and find video of, what, Francisco Lindor is doing at shortstop, and go mimic some of the things that he's doing. Watch him in batting practice, or watch him, in early work, and do some of those things. And maybe you'll figure out, hey, this feels good to me. I want to work on this, or I want to do this. And I think just having the ability to try that sets you in the right direction for when information becomes available to you. You have an open mind.
Yeah, no, Joel, I think that's so good because, like you said, everybody is different. Not
Mm-hmm.
not one drill is going to work for every single person, and it's okay to go make up your own drill if it feels
Mm-hmm.
right or helps you in the game, whatever it may be. And I wrote down too what you said. Um, whatever those different drills may be, stick to one till you perfect it.
Mm-hmm.
Stick with it and see how it feels like. And when we talk about doing drills, like, we don't just do it one day, the next day, and then, okay, I'm good to go. Like,
Mm-hmm.
these professionals, these college players, these great players, like, they master a drill. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
can do it with their eyes closed. So that's why I just encourage youth athletes, especially, like, don't just think if you try one drill, you're good to go. Like, have the
Mm-hmm.
self discipline, what we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about, to keep doing it over and over, even if it may not feel right the first time. And another thing I wrote down too is, like, you talking about, like, us as kids, like, I learned how to take ground balls from basically throwing the ball off the wall. You're talking
Mm-hmm.
about your son, like, he's watching guys, like, you don't, everybody learns differently. I was just throwing the ball off the wall, and I realized it, and I'm throwing it in front of my driveway. So it's a cement, it's the street. I realized I have to have soft hands. I can't be hard on the street, or else
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hurt my own hands.
Mm-hmm.
The ball's going to bounce up, hit me in the face. So that's how I learned a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. And you learn how to become comfortable. You learn how to, but like you said, drills. You can come up with your own drill. You don't have to copy everybody's drill, but at the same time, go look and see what drills are working for some people. Like, there's not just one way to do it. And I think self-discipline comes along with learning what works best for you, no matter
Mm-hmm.
what age you are. You got to try it.
Yeah, for sure. So, one last thing I want to hit on a question right here in the Instagram comments. He said, "What if he is used to doing one workout program and his coach gives him a new one?" I think let's be adults about it, right? I think if you're just starting out and you don't have anything going on, you're early on, I think taking information from somebody and trying it is a great way to do it. But if you've established something and you've found something that works, that doesn't mean your way is the best way by any means. Doesn't mean that your
Mhm.
way is always right, doesn't mean that your way is completely wrong. It just means that, hey, what I mean by being an adult about it is having a conversation with your coach and saying, "Hey, look, this is what I've been doing. These are the goals that I have in mind. These are the improvements that I've made since I started this workout. My squat has gone up so much. My 60-yard dash time has gone down by this much. My exit velocity has gone up." And say, I really feel comfortable with this workout. What is your workout? How is your workout going to help me? Where is that going to increase, areas in my skill set? Where is it gonna help with my squat strength? Like, what's the goal of that workout? So I think you need to have that conversation with them. Don't just write them off because you're used to doing what you're doing, because obviously, if he's your coach, on paper, he's got more experience than you, right? So you always want to learn from someone that has more experience than you because they've already been through it.
Right, right. No, and just to add to your great point, the coach isn't giving it to you to hurt you. He's giving it to you to either he knows it's made some players better, or he wants you to try to incorporate it and see if you get some results. So
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to try new things, test them out. Like as you mature as a player, you're always going to be trying new things to get
Mm-hmm.
better. So
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to try new things. But also, we talked about routine in the past. Like if you have a routine and you feel like it's been working, stick with it, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe incorporate one or two things that can make it better.
Right.
So we're always trying to find a way to get better. And that's a part of what we're talking about today, self-discipline. Maybe I don't like a specific drill, or maybe I don't like the fact that my coach told me to work on this, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe if I try it, it gets me better. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know until I really dig deep into it. So I
Absolutely.
think that's a great point that you mentioned. Like you like you said, you have to have a conversation with your coach, figure out what works best for you guys.
Right. And if you think about it too, like if you're going and seeking out a strength training coach, that's one thing. But if he's coming to you and giving you something, I think that's where you have that conversation. Because if you're actually going out and looking for a workout routine, like you're already going to be asking those questions. So I think now it's just, you got to, really just have that conversation. Every Tuesday, we're here on the X Factor with Xavier Scruggs. I'm your host, Joel Hartman. We took a week off last week. My man X was recuperating from surgery. He was a little hopped up on the meds, so we kind of just said, let's take a week off, get you back down to earth." And now he's back up in Clearwater hanging out. Spent some time down in Siesta on the beach, got his tan going a little bit, and he's showing off the
Yeah,
guns.
yeah.
Um,
Show them off. Show them off.
let's move on to the next topic, and I really like this topic, and I think I'm gonna go in a direction that you don't expect from me, but we're gonna talk about
Uh-oh.
enjoying the game. Enjoying the game. I love to play the game of baseball. I hate watching the game of baseball, to be honest. I'm not a baseball fan. I can't like, if there's fans in the seats or not, I really don't care, because I'm watching the game from a player's perspective, from a coach's perspective. Like, I don't really care who wins or loses. I'm looking at, how they play the game, how they carry themselves, how they come up in a clutch situation.
But
That's
I
what
think
gets.
that helps you enjoy it in a different way, though.
No, that's true, but I just mean, like, I care about watching the game from that standpoint. And so I think where I'm going with enjoying the game is when you're practicing and you're playing. I don't say go out there and I don't say go out there and have fun. Just go out there and have
Right.
fun. I
Right.
say do all the little things right, because that's going to make it fun. So when we're working on double plays in practice, when we're working on rundowns, when we're working on double cuts, when we're working on first to thirds, reads in the dirt, you do those things correctly. Now all of a sudden you're playing at a higher level and the game becomes much more fun. I think that, to me, is how you enjoy the game from a competitive standpoint. If you're trying to progress in the game, if not, then dude, let's go play some wiffle ball. Let's go play backyard baseball. Let's go down to the field and play baseball. But to me, enjoying the game is doing the little things correctly, becoming a better fundamental player. So that way, when you get out on the field, you're not worried about, oh, what am I supposed to do? There's a runner on first, hard hit ball down the right field line. and I'm lining up to second base. No, no, no. You should be lining up to home because you want to keep that runner at third base from first because he's getting a guaranteed double down the line. And that's something that you have to work on because you ain't going to be enjoying the game if you're losing 10-0. That's going to get boring real quick, right? So I think for me, that was just my opening rant, but that's me enjoying the game is doing the fundamental things correctly.
No, and I hope I don't disappoint you, but I'm right on track with that.
Oh, okay.
I'm right on track with that because the reason why is because baseball, we fail so much
Uh-huh.
at the game. Like we have to find the little things to enjoy inside of the game. So that's I'm right on track with you because okay, I go 0 for 4.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that I didn't, if that means every time I go 0 for 4, I didn't enjoy the game, that's a problem. I have to find something to get better at or something that I did well at every day. That way I can enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm.
Or another aspect of it is what if I'm not playing? I
Mm-hmm.
have to still be able to enjoy the game too, right? I got to
Mm-hmm.
be a good teammate. You talk about the
Mm-hmm.
little things. We're talking about being a good teammate, cheering your teammate on, enjoying the opportunity to win. And you're not, and another thing, sometimes you're going to be on horrible teams. So how do you enjoy the game then? It's finding the joy in the little things, like you said. If I know I lined up to the right spot as a defensive player, I got in line on a relay. Maybe I was the guy over. I'm a double cut. The guy overthrew the guy, and I was there. To make that relay. That's something to be happy about. That's something that sometimes doesn't get talked about. But you were in the right position mentally. You knew where to be. That's a whole nother separator in the game mentally, right? Those are the things that the college coaches, the major league coaches, the scouts, those are the things that they look at that separate those players. So
Mm-hmm.
it's those little things, just like you talked about. Another thing that I wanted to mention too is like, especially in today's age, is like those players on your team are your friends. Enjoy that time with them
Mm-hmm.
as much as you can. Obviously, not everybody's going to be your friend,
Right.
but you have to enjoy the time that you have with those guys because if I'm correct and I'm thinking it might be the same for you, you remember playing with those guys. Those are like memories that
Oh
stick with
yeah.
you for a long time. So whatever stage that you're at, I still remember my travel ball team. One of my closest friends today was from my travel ball team. His name's Thomas Neal. He ended up playing in the major leagues as well. But like the times that I go back to is like when we were 12, 11, eating those McDonald's sandwiches while we're in the dugout. Like those are the times that stick with me. So I'm just like, I want the same thing that you say as a youth, amateur, professional. Remember those little things because they stick with you for a long time.
Couple questions from Instagram. Any way I can improve my throwing mechanics? Yes, absolutely. You need to find someone that's successful at throwing the baseball, like a successful pitcher, and break down slow motion video of what they do, how they throw, and see if that makes sense to you. And go out there and throw. You know, you. I mean, not everybody throws the same. You have to
Right.
work with it and try to find something that works for you. Um, why do kids who spend all this money on events, etc., seem to get picked up more than a kid who's grinding every day, posting videos of them hitting, etc., just don't have the professional videos to show? Dude, I mean, I know it seems like that's the case, but it's not. Like, unless you're throwing like 97, like it doesn't make it easier for you. It makes it kind of makes the spotlight's bigger, but now you have to be more precise in things that you're doing. Yeah, you throw 97, but can you get outs? Yeah, you throw 97, but can you locate your fastball and do you have a secondary pitch? Things like that. So I think, don't get hung up on, kids spending all this money going to all these events and stuff. If you're grinding and you're posting videos, let's get back to the self-discipline. Do the things that are going to help you get to the next level. Do the things that D1 players are doing. Do the things that MLB players are doing, so that way you can mimic it. Because if you do not do it and you get a chance to be seen, you've just lost any future chances to be seen. So you can't worry about what's not happening. You have to worry about what you can control, in your life and in your situation.
I just want to add to that too. Just keep doing it for yourself. Don't do it for other other people and other recognition. Do it because you want to get better as a player. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing it. Keep posting the videos. Look at your progression. Do it for you. have the satisfaction in yourself. Yeah,
Mhm.
everybody wants to get picked up, everybody wants to showcase their skills, but if that's the ultimate goal, you'll always be trying to prove for somebody else. Do it for yourself.
For sure. There's one more comment. Greetings from Merida, Yucatan. You are
Yucatan
missed
family.
greatly. You're
Hey,
missed
what's
greatly.
up, my Mexican Yucatan family? What's going on?
So to piggyback off what you were saying about enjoying the game, I think too many people get hung up on the stats. And now I love going 3 for 4 with some RBIs and a double, but I think that is what causes players, especially the younger level, to have the hissy fits because they're focused so much on success, success, success. Got to go 2-0 in pool, 2-0 in pool play, so we have great seating times on Sunday, and we got to win, win, win. We're doing all these things. I think of it like this: like imagine your team as being a bunch of different pieces, a bunch of different parts. And Xavier, you just mentioned a minute ago, you may not like your teammate, but he's still your teammate, right? So the employees of a company, like a big company like Amazon or Starbucks, they don't, number one, they don't know everybody at the office. They might know of them, but they don't hang out with each other. They don't have all the same interests, the same beliefs, but they work together to produce the product. So you've got to think of it this way: a well-oiled machine is really going to help you enjoy the game. Clicking on all cylinders is really going to help you enjoy the game. Like you mentioned, you go 0 for 4, but you get up there and you line up perfectly for that double cut, and the guy in front of you screwed up, but you were there to pick up the slack to make the play happen. You're not better than that guy, and that guy's not good because he messed up, but because you guys were enjoying the game and working on the fundamentals, you were where you were supposed to be. Now all of a sudden you took a loss or a failure and turned it into a positive or a success because you were doing what you were supposed to do. And that's how it works. It's not just, hey, let me go up and go 3 for 4. Mike Trout goes and hits 2 home runs, gets 5 RBIs, and we lose 6-5. Well, guess what? He couldn't do it on his own. Right. So the point is, if you're working together, even though you may not be friends, your teammates, you're an individual working hard to improve your skill, improve your game, so that way you can work together as a team. You got to think of it. You got to think of it more than friendship. Like, I know a lot of, amateur teams, especially, I'm following around a lot of, 17U and 16U teams, and I see them having fun, and that's great. But then they have their little cliques on the team, and you can't be opposed to that. You can't be upset about that, because just because you're not friends with somebody on the team, and when I mean friends, I mean not hanging out or whatever, not enemies. I mean, you're not going to be enemies on the team. That's weird. But for you to click, you understand that each person on the team has a role. Like Xavier, like you mentioned, you have to learn how to enjoy the game on the bench. Well, let's face it, at the 10U level, there's 11 kids on the team. They bat 11, and then they rotate out the 2 guys, so everybody plays. When you get to high school, you got 20 kids on the team. You got 11 guys who are going to be sitting on the bench. You have to learn how to be a part of that team. So if you're working together, if you're clicking on all cylinders, you're now better able to win. You're better able to enjoy the game and really find out more things that you can do. Like if you're going through a rut, like the example you had about the double cut, like you guys missed the double cut, that all of a sudden that brings down the morale, that brings down the momentum. If you're making those plays, now all of a sudden, how much better could you guys be? Like if you're facing off competition in, elite travel ball, right? We're at the, World Wood Bat 17U, you got uh whatever 2 teams facing each other. They're equally talented. They might have a couple players that are better here and there or whatever, but they're equally talented. You all of a sudden do the little things correctly. You just elevated your game and become a better team than them. If they're not executing, if they're missing the double play and only getting 1 out, well, guess what? You just got to break. Can you capitalize on that? Can you get a base hit now where there's 2 outs instead of end of inning? You know what I mean? So doing those little things, I think that really can lead to really enjoying the game, really having fun while you're playing it.
Yeah, no, I think we just turned enjoy the game into doing the little things, right? Like
Yeah.
that's basically how you enjoy the game. Like you mentioned it so many times because the game, and you mentioned it from the jump because you said when you're watching the game, you see so many little things going on that you can't watch it almost like a normal spectator
Mhm.
because there's so many little wins and losses within the game. So I
Mhm.
think that's a focus for the players today is like, don't think of your wins and losses just as your at bats or if you made an error or you made a base running mistake or a stolen base, whatever it may be. But think about the little things. Base running. Did I get a good jump? Even if I got a good jump and I got thrown out, I got thrown out. Whatever. If I'm pitching and my job today was to locate my fastball on the inner half of the plate. Maybe I did that and maybe they got some hits. I still won.
Mhm.
What I set my mind to is the winning or losing. It's not the actual result. And I think as baseball players, the earlier we understand that, the earlier we understand that it's the process
Mhm.
instead of the result all the time. I think, and a huge thing you mentioned too, and it's not brought up enough, is like is being a good teammate. It sometimes it sucks if we're on a bad team or if we're not playing as much as we want to, or if there's a certain guy on the team that we don't get along with. But look, you're still on a team and you have to do your job on that team. And you have to be prepared. So I think that's so important is like doing the little things, being a good teammate, being prepared. Another thing I wrote down too is that if I'm a hitter, like maybe I didn't get a hit, but maybe I was recognizing the slider better. Maybe I
Mhm.
was recognizing off speed better that day. That
Mhm.
goes into the next game. So that's kind of how the mindset of a professional, a great college athlete, whatever it is to get to the next level, that's how you want to be thinking. And I think you hit it right on the nose, man, from the jump.
Well, dude, I think that wraps up this episode. I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts. There's a couple comments. Chris Lane said, "What's up, X?"
What's up, Chris Lane, chaplain of the Miami Marlins?
Oh, what's up?
Shout out.
Um, One question here from Instagram, if you can give me, because this applies to you. If you can just give a quick reply to this, how to get motivated to work out while you're stuck in your house, because I know that's something you're dealing with.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I would have to say, first off, what do you want to get better at as far as working out? Like you talked about earlier, Joel, we talked
Mm-hmm.
about squats. Like if
Mm-hmm.
that's something I want to get my legs stronger, or if I want to get my upper body stronger, if is my goal to throw harder, is
Mm-hmm.
my goal to, gain some weight, lose some weight, figure out your goals first. And those need to be a daily attack. If I know I have my goals here and I'm getting up and I'm not motivated to knock out my goals, then we have an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
first lay down the goals, and then hey, one thing I love to do is throw on the music. What is your music that gets you pumped up? Throw
Right.
that out. What is a book that you like to read that gets you pumped up? Whatever what is a documentary you like to watch? Like we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about The Last Dance. Like that gets me pumped up. That gives me motivation. I may be in the house, but I'm gonna knock out some push-ups. I'm gonna do something, to
Yeah.
get me going. So I think it's and watch your favorite players on YouTube. You talked about that too. Like those guys will give you their routines. You can
Mm-hmm.
work on start small. You don't have to go big, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's funny you mentioned The Last Dance, because I was actually gonna give a final comment about that, because you were talking about, a bad teammate, or, just not clicking or whatever. The one thing that I saw, or that I saw in the first episode with MJ, was that when he first joined the Bulls, he's obviously the rookie, the new kid on the block. And so instead of voicing his opinion and voicing what he thought should be done, he went and immediately found who the leader was on the team, and went out and started going after him, outworking him, working with him, trying to do as much as he could to show how committed he was. And then
Yeah.
I think it was like the third game of the season or whatever, of that season, and they were down by 9 going into the fourth quarter, and he said the vibe that he had been getting from the team was that, let's just focus on the next game because this one's over. And he's like, we got a whole quarter to go. So he said, you know what? I'm not even going to worry about them. I'm just going to go off. And he said that his coach recognized that in that third game. He scored a bunch of points. They came back and won. And all of a sudden that shifted the behavior of
Mhm.
some of those guys on the team, from they were packing it in the third quarter to now they're busting their butts till the end of the game, uh, to try to win. And I think that, um, you know, just following up with what you were saying to Paul about how to be motivated when you're motivated to work out when you're stuck in the house. what do you see yourself as? What do you see yourself as? Oh, I got to do this again, or oh, I can't squat 225, so why even squat? Like you have to
Right.
see yourself as that person. Like you have to see yourself as
Mm,
that elite high school player, as the D1 college player, as the
yeah.
MLB player, even though you are not, because the way that your brain works, if your mind believes that you're something else, it's not going to put everything into motion for you to get to that point. It's not
That's a
going
good
to
point.
link everything up and give you're not going to have the motivation to want to go work out if you're not seeing yourself as a successful baseball player or at whatever goal you want to achieve. You have to believe that you're going to be there, so that way when you go and do something and it's not happening right now, you have that strength, that mental strength, and that belief system to push you through and to help you keep going. Just like there's another question,
Huge.
how to stay confident in the batter's box. Like you can't go in there without confidence. That period. That's the bottom line. Like how to have confidence, just or how to stay confident. Just be confident. See yourself as a hitter, knowing that all the variables are in place. If I go 0 for 4, it doesn't mean I suck. I go 4 for 4, it doesn't mean I'm a hero. It's
Yeah.
even keel. So go into that situation seeing yourself as what you want to be in a realistic manner, not seeing yourself as a Major League Baseball player and then sitting back and playing Xbox all day because you're like, yeah, I'll get to it. I'm already there. No, it's seeing yourself at that level. So that way, in turn, like we talked about in the beginning with self-discipline, you
Yeah.
can then act that out right now. And when you're presented with the opportunity, like you didn't know what it was like to be a Major League Baseball player until you got to Major League Baseball, right? If you wouldn't
Right.
have been doing the things that made you successful, you probably never would have got the opportunity to be a Major League Baseball player. So
Right.
everything that you do now, I'm sure there's a ton of things that you could have done differently
Hmm.
early on, growing up. There's a ton of things you could have done differently, but you were still able to do things that got you to that level. So I think it's all about that mindset and being able to say, you know what, I want to do this. If you want to go back and look at, one of our first episodes where Xavier was talking about, planning and setting a schedule and a routine, like that will play into that hugely for you working out at
Yeah.
home or for you having self-discipline and staying focused. Like writing down a list of something I want to do on Monday, something I want to do on Tuesday, something I want to do on Wednesday,
Hmm.
all the way through the week. And then after that week, reevaluate and say, how many of these things did I do? How much more can I do? How can I get better? Now, all of a sudden, not only are you creating a routine, it's becoming part of your life. It's becoming part of who you are, where now you're sitting on the couch looking at Netflix or on Instagram. Instead, your life cycle is now going to the gym and working out, throwing some balls against the wall in the backyard to work on your hands and learn how to be a better, fielder.
That's huge. You are your daily habits.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you are, right? So if I know I want to be motivated to do my workout, that whoever I see myself being, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna commit to. So
Mm-hmm.
that's you said it. That's huge, man. And I
Absolutely.
wrote that down because like I need to be incorporating that more and also making sure I'm letting others know, like see yourself doing the big thing down the road. It may not be here right now, but see yourself visually doing it.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Like
I
if
like
you
that.
if you look at it from a business standpoint, a guy I like to follow, Gary Vaynerchuk, he breaks it down like this. He says do it backwards. Find out what you're trying to build, what you're trying to create, and work backwards to where you are now, the step by step process, because you can't go from step 1 to step 100. You have to go to step 2. And you're not going to know what step 3 is until you do step 2. You're not going to know what step 10 is until you do step 1 through 9. So you've got to work yourself through that and get to that point eventually.
Yeah, yeah.
Man.
Shout out to Gary V who follows me now. What's up, Gary V?
Oh, how'd you manage that, my man? Good job. At a baby. All right. Well, what a great episode, man. Glad you're feeling better. Glad you're doing better. Um,
Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
excited to be back in action right here on Prospect Dugout, talking to X Factor with my man Xavier Scruggs. If you want to know more about Xavier and what he has to offer, one-on-one training, team training, virtual training, he can help you with your swing. He can help you with your mental approach. He can get on a FaceTime with you for a half an hour and talk about whatever's going on. xoathletes.com or hit him up on Instagram at Xavier_Scruggs. Yeah, man, it's been great. Happy to be back here with you. Thank you so much for
Happy.
your time today. Absolutely.
Huge, man. Thank you for jumping on here and dropping the knowledge, man.
Thanks,
I
buddy.
don't see. I don't know if you've seen the Instagram is going off. It's
It
still going
is.
off.
It is
So
still going
it's
off
been obviously huge, and I'm glad that we're able to do this weekly. X Factor Prospect Dugout.
for sure.
Let's keep doing it.
And I think for everybody that's didn't get your question answered on Instagram or on Facebook or YouTube, dude, send us a DM. We're always, that's how Xavier and I connected through Instagram DM. I mean, it works.
Yeah,
I don't know why people
absolutely.
don't utilize it more. I get guys that are, to be honest, guys that DM every week at the same time, just constantly doing it. And guess what? It just reminds me. And we get that post up there because there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of distractions, but if you stay persistent, stay dedicated to what you're doing, it eventually can work
Man,
out in your favor.
follow up works, man. The
That's it,
follow up
man.
works.
That's it. Well, so another episode of the X Factor with Xavier Scruggs. I'm your host, Joel Hartman. So for Xavier Scruggs, we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.